The Australian government plans to introduce laws that will consider buy now pay later (BNPL) services as a credit product in a bid to protect consumers from financial abuse and over-indebtedness. BNPL services are a way of paying for things without interest by splitting the cost into installments. They are popular among online shoppers, especially young people, who may not have access to credit cards or other forms of credit. However, they are also largely unregulated and unchecked, posing growing dangers to consumers who may end up taking on more debt than they can afford or being coerced into debt by abusive partners. Currently, BNPL products are not regulated under the National Consumer Credit Protection Act 2009, the Credit Act, and do not need to follow responsible lending standards or hold an Australian credit license, ACL. This means they do not have to check the suitability of their customers, make allowances for financial hardship, or offer dispute resolution processes. The government's proposed changes will bring BNPL providers within a subset of the Credit Act, requiring them to have a credit license, comply with modified responsible lending obligations, and meet minimum standards for conduct. The government will also strengthen the industry code, which is a voluntary set of rules that some BNPL providers have agreed to follow. The government's decision comes after a Treasury paper published in November 2023, which explored possible BNPL regulation options and sought feedback from stakeholders. The paper said there were 7 million active BNPL accounts in the 2021-22 financial year, which resulted in $16 billion in transactions, an increase of nearly 37% compared to the year prior. The paper also highlighted the risks and harms associated with BNPL products, such as over-indebtedness, late fees, default charges, credit score impacts, predatory marketing, and financial abuse. The paper said that these risks were disproportionately affecting women, First Nations communities, and people on low incomes. The government's plan to regulate BNPL services as a credit product is expected to provide better protection and transparency for consumers, while also ensuring a level playing field for other credit providers. The government will unveil the draft legislation for consultation later this year, and the bill will be introduced into Parliament by the end of this year. The plan has been welcomed by consumer advocates and some BNPL providers, such as PayPal, who have argued for tougher regulation of the sector. However, some other BNPL providers, such as Afterpay, have opposed the plan, saying that it would stifle innovation and competition.